So today's project is this door lock on the cab that's not working. If we press that in as hard as I can, it's hardly moving. The internal part is moving, the lock mechanism, but if I press that, this doesn't work. Strangely enough, if I operate that, the internal panel, then we get it moving around. And what we've started to do is take out the lock mechanism. So you need it in that position. Got to remove a screw there, and a screw there. But also you've got to take out or take off the external handle. So we're going to be taking that off first. Now to remove that, what we're going to be needing to do is unscrew a couple of bolts, or a couple of Allen keys in my case, that are in this position. So once we take these out, what we'll find is that we can take out the external handle. So we'll just undo that. So we've taken out the external handle. As you can see now, that is working. So that's not the issue. I think the issue is going to be the lock mechanism. So I'm not sure whether or not it's going to be grease, oil or dirt or something else that's basically stopping the mechanism from releasing. So let's take a look at that. So this is the door mechanism, still attached to that push rod, and what we need to do is we need to lift that pin there. A bit difficult to do with only one hand, but basically we're lifting that up there. That will then slide across there, and then we're able to move that round and take that section off. So we'll take it in the garage and give it a good clean camper, and then what we've found is that the internal part, which is this lever, works fine. So when you're inside you want to get out, brilliant, no problem. But when you're outside trying to get in, you press the button which presses onto that, and the mechanism's going in and out, but it's not sufficient to release the end bit. So what we have found is when we've knocked this pin out to take that out, we have found on this section some wear on that locator. So my intention is to file it a little bit, get it smooth, and add a little bit of weld onto that, and then hopefully there'll be sufficient clearance to make this section work. So let's take a look. So we've got a small amount, a little tiny dip there that we're just going to fill in with a small amount. So we've now got a race section rather than a dip. Probably just about see that. So we've just got a race section there where we had some wear. So we're just going to clean that up, and once it's cleaned up we can refit it to the locking mechanism. So now where we had a little dip here, we've got a little mound. So hopefully with any luck that will cure our problem. So now we've got that working, that releasing. So there we go. The only thing we've got left to do is basically refit that. Now we've pushed that through as far as it'll go, and what I'm just going to do is just going to put a little bit of weld on this section just to get that in the right place. It's quite a lot of away, but then you can imagine that this is a 50-year-old plus vehicle, so we need to try to get it as best we can so we're not having to take it apart again. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try and knock that pin through a little bit more to get it tightened up. So that's a lot tighter than it was. These were probably spot welded into position in the factory. So what you should have is that pulls from the inside, that frees the lock, and that pushes from the outside, and that frees the lock. So it looks like we've got our working door lock. All's left to do. So I'm just going to use the small bent sander, detail sander. So that's taking some of the high spot off it, so we shouldn't have a problem refitting it. There we go. So now I've got a working catch. So we'll give it a squirt with the good old WD-40. Everything well coated. So we'll try that one first, and that seems to make that work. And this time, this is one that was the problem. So as we press that from the outside catch, that didn't move last time, so it weren't opening the door correctly. So that seems to be working now correctly. I'll just turn that back. Just got a little bit of spray grease to put in. Lubricates all the moving parts. So hopefully this time it's going to work. So we're now going to refit this unit. Obviously make sure that it's on the lock position, and then rotate it around till you get into that bottom slot. Bring that clip across as we did before, and then we're going to have to maneuver it back into this position. There we go. Again, just putting that clock in the middle there. That will then bring up into position back where we started. So the only thing to do now is basically put the screws back in, put the handle back on, and see if we get a good result. So now we've got that catch back in, we'll give it a try on the lever down here. There we go. So that's working again. And then I think what we can do on this is we can rotate that into the lock position, and then inside here we've got a little lever there we can press in. So by pressing that, we've now unlocked that. So we know the external bit works now. Seems to work better than it did before, but only time will tell when we fixed the external handle. So we'll move on to that next. So again, we've got the external handle and the Allen keys. We'll place that through the lock. And then we'll try to get the lock back in position. And then using the Allen key in through there. And then we'll progress across to the front one. Now this one's a little bit more difficult because we've got the little pad on the outside. So I'm going to try and get that into there, and then through the hole into the pad, and then also into the door handle. So we've now thrown it through, got it all screwed up on these two screws. Take it round here, put it into the lock position, and hopefully now it will work. There we go. So we've now got a working lock mechanism once again. There we go. Quite happy with that. Just give it a try. So there's locked. And it works again. Success. So all we've got to do now is basically put the door back together. So we've finally refitted all the panels. Now we're just going to recheck that that works. So we use the inside catch for that one. So as I pull that, that should open, and it does. So that's now the door done. It's locked and works, or seems to work every time now. So another job completed on this Splitty. See you next time.